So we use this concept of race loosely in society. And in society, yes, we have constructed it and made it what it is and what we believe it to be in society. But genetic and genomic research tell us that humans do not divide in races at the biological level. And so a part of my work is helping people to understand that. Understand what these differences, the differences in skin color, the differences in hair texture, what these really mean at a biological level, and then to help us better understand the social implications of these identities and these categories that we've created. My research focuses largely on social and ethical issues in genetics and genomics, but more specifically on issues at the intersection of race and genetics, and also issues involving the participation of diverse populations, including African and African diaspora populations, in genetic and genomic research. So I am formally trained in human genetics, and genetic and genomic research are at the cutting edge of scientific research and has been for a long time, starting really in terms of genomic research with the Human Genome Project. And genetic research raises a lot of questions about information that will be coming from the research and how we use that information, who has access to that information. And I have long been interested in the implications of that information and how it's used, and even more importantly, an interest in what genetics has to say about the existence or the non-existence of biological races in humans. Teaching Duke students is the highlight of my time here at Duke. Students give me the energy and the motivation to do what I do, especially on the topic of race, when they have so many perspectives about what race is and what it's not. And when they come to the understanding of what biology says about it, in many cases, it just opens up their world in terms of how they think, in terms of how they act, in terms of how they communicate with others about these differences. Their curiosity to learn, their thirst for knowledge excites me. I think the department, at least our department, and I think many others too, African and African American Studies departments, allow students to focus in on areas related to all aspects of life of Africans and African Americans that they may not otherwise get going from one department to another. And I've heard students say that all the time, that they've taken a course on some part of Africa or some course related to African Americans, but taking the intro course, for example, the introductory course in African American Studies, allows them to pull the pieces together in ways that they would not otherwise have, just from jumping around and trying to do some in history and some in anthropology. And so I think the breadth of expertise that the faculty in AAAS bring, but also the discipline, if I may say so, it's one discipline comprised of many, the discipline of African and African American Studies itself is broad. And working with students who come through the department, who themselves come from all over, just makes it a one-of-a-kind environment for someone who relishes true interdisciplinarity.